Welcome back to the MVP podcast here with another episode of Fight Club brought to you by your one and only Mr. Nayim and my main man, Timothy K. How we doing?
Timothy K, fam, these skin fades are very high maintenance. You got to go once a week at minimum. If not, you got to go once, every 2 weeks. And right now, the way the situation is looking like my check-ins is taking time to get into my savings account, which means that, Bossman is not really going to bless man with the lineup, and I'm going to end up looking a bit rough for a couple of weeks. I see you showing off your fade there, though. I'm glad, you've got time to get a fade.
No.
Just obviously, your fade will never be as hard as mine, but it's up there, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Listen, Bossmans don't do tabs, innit, on barbershops.
It depends. My bossman's all right. Like, once in a while, he'll do a tab, but you know what it is, brother? Tabs are very dangerous things, innit? Let's be honest. Before we know about them £6 tabs. We know about them £6 tabs and that rack every week, and I'm not going to get into that. But listen, can we start off by giving a shout out to my Los Angeles Lakers because they made the NBA Finals, baby. Bro, I don't think you got the memo. It's Fight Club, not NBA.
This guy, listen, I had to start on a positive note because I need you to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, as Stephen A. Smith says, put it on me. This is my screen. This is my camera. This is my shot. Put it on me. Let me tell you something. For the first time, Danny, since the lockdown started, and I'm on about the original lockdown back in March, I was disappointed with the UFC. I did not enjoy the event. I felt the fans not being there, having I had an issue with it. Like the card just, for me, didn't live up to it. Like, I just didn't enjoy it, man. Now, people will say there's been worse cards out there. People will say there'll be worse cards to come. But yo, for the first time, I just feel like, you know what? The UFC. Like, I only found out that Adesanya was fighting in the morning of the fight. Wow. Like, I literally completely forgot. And it's like a big thing if I forget. I'm into my UFC.
Yeah.
Nah, man. It let me down. The fights weren't even, exciting. I mean, what do you make of it?
No, I mean, in terms of the publicity and stuff like that, yes, I agree with you on that sense that there wasn't a lot of publicity about this fight. I don't know whether that's just because, as we're getting back from lockdown, a lot of things are opening up again, and there's a lot of new rules, and there's a lot of stuff to sort of, understand, and a lot to keep up with. And obviously, for Premier League's back, like boxing last night, bro, we had about 4 different shows boxing, so there was a lot of content over the weekend. So whether or not it might be just because we've had eyes on other things that we forgot about the UFC, but I do agree with you, the publicity wasn't there. But to say the card was underwhelming, no, I think there was 3 good fights on that card that I thoroughly enjoyed. There was the Dominic Reyes one.
The Reyes one was good. I'm not gonna lie, that was good.
That was a shock as well.
Because I talked to Dominic, I speak to Dominic a few times, so I don't know the guy, but I've got a bit of a relationship with the guy. I've spoken to him. He's given so much advice in the past, so I felt upset for him when he lost. Honestly, I felt really upset for him, and he got battered. Like, did you see his rib cage?
Yeah. I think they're saying that it's something to do with a broken rib. I'm not sure. I read one sort of confirmed report on that. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know the exact truth and the extent of that, but it is tragic for the guy, man. He's a good fighter, you know what I mean? But it's about how he bounces back now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, apart from the Dominic Reyes fight, which was decent, but obviously upsetting for the reasons I've already outlined, the card just was underwhelming, man. Honestly,
I like that fight, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. As much as people are saying Adesanya's fight wasn't very good, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Do you know what, man? I don't know. It's Adesanya starting to get this Guillermo Regendow reputation of just being a machine where he just gets the job done, but it's boring to watch. Because
I disagree, because he did what he had to do. You got to imagine, bro, this guy who he's fighting, his last fight was against, was it Yo Romero, I believe?
Yeah, he knocked him out.
Yeah. And he walked down Yo Romero, and he put him into trouble. He won the fight. He was head and shoulders above him, as they say. With regards to the Adesanya fight, I feel like he tried to do the same thing. But Adesanya was very clever with it. He was keeping him at bay with those kicks. And mate, those kicks were something else. Like, Adesanya, if you think about it, I've bought into him because he's not the biggest. You know what I mean? He's not some muscly steadhead, but he gets the job done. He was kicking the guy constantly, keep him at bay with those kicks. Those kicks, he literally chopped down a tree. That's what he did. He weakened the foundations. Once he's weakened the foundations, he went straight for the head. Like they say in boxing, go to the body, the head will come. Same concept in UFC, go to the legs, the head will drop. And look how we dealt with him. Second round knockout. Like, that's impressive, man.
It was a bit underwhelming from Paulo, if you ask me. Like, for a guy who's undefeated, who's coming off a hot streak, there's so much hype built up about this fight as well. Beat this Ricky Martin lookalike wannabe, and to be honest, yeah, it was just, I don't know. I was very disappointed.
Adesanya got into his head. I'm telling you. From the first round, he looked a bit different. And those kicks, bro, were hurting him, man. You seen the bruises he had just from those kicks.
Yeah, they were bad. You know what was mad? The one thing the kicks, you could hear them so clearly as well. I think the first second of the first round, you heard that kick. It was like, oof, like a bamboo hitting you.
Yeah, it was proper, and a lot of those kicks were going unchecked.
Yeah, they were. I was a bit surprised, but to be honest with you, Paulo's gonna have to rebuild himself up. Adesanya's already called out his next guy, Jared Cannonier, a guy I've spoken about a few times on the podcast. That will be big. If that happens, that'll be big.
Do you see Adesanya dropping the belt anytime soon?
No. He's too good. Realistically, he's too good. He's an efficient guy. He gets the job done. He doesn't expend too much energy. He doesn't take too many shots. He's
accurate though. He's precise. You know what I mean?
That's why I get the Regan down comparison from him, because he's like, he doesn't take the shots and he knows how to land. But yeah, I just want to give a quick mention. I didn't actually get a chance to watch the brothers, but they fought yesterday and they both won. Jamal and Jamel, Charlo, the twin Charlo, Future of Boxing. Wow. Shout out to you boys, man. Big wins last night. I mean, your boy Jason Rosario, another guy actually I've spoken to a few times as well. And whatnot. I feel for the guy. He's only young.
I do. Rosario, man, he's such a good kid, man. He's young, you know what I mean? But this guy, man, this Charlo brother, he was levels ahead, man. You know what I mean? I've seen the knockout. I didn't watch the full fight. I've seen the knockout. Believe it or not, he knocked him out with a jab.
Yeah.
That to the body as well. That to the body. He knocked him down in first round, so he was levels ahead of him. I am going to go back and watch that fight, don't get me wrong, but the Charlo brothers, man, they've proved that they're serious guys, you know what I mean? Obviously, the first Charlo brother, I always get mixed up with their names, man. It's difficult because they look alike.
By the Instagram name, Future of Boxing.
So one of the Charlo brothers retained the WBC belt. That brother, that was the first fight. He lost that to Tony Harrison, and he got that back, and he's looking very good. He's the middleweight champion. And then you've got the other brother who, man, that guy is now one more belt away from being undisputed. So these guys are on greatness, man.
They're one level apart, aren't they, in weight class, innit? There's one weight class that separates them, innit? Yeah, one's like...
Yeah, these guys are on some form of greatness.
Yeah, no, they look good, man. One last thing before we do go down there, I just want to ask you about Bob Arum's comments that surfaced today about PPV, pay-per-view fights, and Tio versus Loma, which we did a podcast on, but we haven't released, and we're not going to probably release now. But that and the Usyk Chisora and the whole UK pay-per-view. Do you want to just quickly touch on that?
So Bob Arum, he just a couple hours ago basically said that, at the end of the day, he can't understand why no UK broadcaster is picking up the Loma Lopez fight, which I totally agree with, because I don't understand why he's not picking up that fight, purely because that's more or less an undisputed fight. You know what I mean? You're talking champion fighting champion, and he's doing that. For 3 belts. Sorry, I think for 3 belts, and it's an explosive fight. Lomachenko, when you watch Lomachenko, you're always gonna get a very good fight. He's amazing. He's literally the best in his weight class. He's the face of his weight class, and you got the young starter, obviously, Lopez. So he said that, and then he also said that I've got Crawford and Kell Brook in the works as well. And he goes, I'm not charging these fights as pay-per-view. He's doing them free on ESPN. He's like, the American people have suffered enough with COVID-19. A lot of them are out of jobs. I just want to make sure they fall in love with the sport of boxing again. Then he takes a scathing shot at Eddie Hearn, saying, "Why are you putting, Usyk and Chisora on a pay-per-view?" And I agree with him. The same way I agree with the Dillian White Povetkin. Chisora, as much as I love that guy and his comedy, his entertainment, he's not an A-class fighter. He's not, at best he's a B-level fighter, and he's on his way out. Look, he's about 39, you know what I mean? 9 losses, so he's got a point, and he's completely right. And this is why you've got to respect Lomachenko, because Lomachenko takes a 2.7 million cut because there's no funds just to get that fight on. Boxing needs a live gate. Similar to the UFC, they can still put on shows, but boxing needs a live gate. So I totally agree with him, man. And I think that Eddie Hearn does need to look at himself, and they do need to. How are they going to get people back into boxing if, like, every other week there's a pay-per-view? Like, realistically, do they expect people to constantly buy those pay-per-views? I can understand why people, and I'm not like saying that we should or anything like that, but I can understand why people stream fights purely because, you know what I mean? You're not putting champion versus champion there, are you? It's not a championship fight. So how are you gonna have that as a main? How are you gonna have that as a main card pay-per-view kind of thing? So I agree with him, man, and I think for the first time in his life, he might be onto something.
Yeah, no, I agree with him too. And you know what? I think we'll save this because I think I want to get into this later down the line. More about this, but you raised a good point, and you brought the article to my attention today. So I thought, you know what, it's worthwhile just discussing briefly and just.
Josh Taylor as well. He knocked out his opponent in the first one. The Tartan Terrier. He's already announced he wants Ramirez in Edinburgh, so that's gonna be a big fight, champion v champion.
Is that Gilberto?
I can't remember his first name.
I think it is.
I can't remember, mate. You caught me off guard.
Yeah, I think it is Gilbert Ramirez. I think it is. He's a good fighter, man.
He says Ramirez I think it's for the WBO.
Yeah,
we had a good night of sport last night, man. Just gonna have to catch up on it later on. You know what I mean?
We did. But then, before I do let you go, man, first of all, please do like, share, and subscribe as always. And Danny, lead us out. What's the number one rule of Fight Club, my man?
We always talk about Fight Club.
Yeah.